This course will show you how to write an assignment from beginning to end. Knowing the unwritten rules of writing a captivating and critical assignment is crucial to improve your grades and enhance the quality of your academic work. This course consists of 4 lectures. Lecture 1, the types of assignments. Lecture 2, how to write an introduction. Lecture 3, how to write a main body. Lecture 4, how to write a conclusion. Lesson 1, different types of assignments. Generally, you'll be asked to complete 4 types of assignments: an academic essay, a reflective essay, a report, an oral presentation. These different types of assignments require different approaches. The first type of assignment that we will look at is the academic essay. The academic essay should be objective and discursive. The academic essay requires you to write objectively. You must be neutral. You must be balanced. You should avoid showing bias. The language you use must be neutral. You cannot use words that are emotive or emotional or too passionate. Avoid personal pronouns like I, you, us. You must write from a distance. The academic essay should be discursive. Discursive is when you go back and forth. You bring one argument, then you refute it with another argument. What did this scholar say? What did that scholar say? You show different opinions from different scholars. You show different approaches. All of this is being discursive. In your academic essay, the marker expects you to go back and forth with different scholars, different approaches, different studies. This word discursive is very similar to the word discussion. In a discussion, we go back and forth between us. You say something, I say something. You say something, I say something, and so on. This is being discursive. The second type of assignment that we will look at is the reflective essay. The reflective essay is different from the academic essay because you are allowed to be personal, subjective. You can express your personal opinion, express your emotions, express your inner feelings. You can be fully human this time. So you can use personal pronouns: I, me, you, us, we, my. Reflection is about looking at yourself and contemplating what happened to you in the past, and also looking forward by creating an action plan. The third type of assignment is the report. The report requires you to write objectively. Once again, you must be neutral. You cannot use words that are emotive. Hide your passions, hide your emotions. Avoid personal pronouns like I, we, you, us, my. In a report, you are not being discursive. You are going in one direction. You are putting forward a case. Imagine you are in a workplace and you are the manager and you request your staff to produce a report. However, your staff give you a discursive report. You do not want this type of report. This type of report may mention this theory, and it may mention this argument and this counter argument. It mentions multiple definitions. It could mean this or it could mean that. This is something that you don't want. You want to understand a single issue. You want clear information about the strengths and weaknesses of a single issue. You want a clear picture of the product, or you want a clear picture of the approach. You don't want to see any back and forth. You want to see a clear case being put forward. You also find in reports, tables, charts, and graphs. This is done to make the report easy to understand and digest. A busy manager will find it easier to review graphs than dense numerical information buried in a paragraph. The fourth type of assignment is the oral presentation. This is an oral version of a report. Everything you expect to see in a report, you would expect to hear in an oral presentation. Once again, you have to be objective. Also, you are not being discursive. You are going in one direction. You are putting forward a case. Lecture 2. How to write an introduction. Typically, when you write an assignment, you should arrange the assignment into 3 sections: introduction, main body, conclusion. In the introduction, you tell the audience what you will do. In the main body, this is where you actually do it. And in the conclusion, you tell the audience what you have done. In this first lecture, we will look at the first aspect of your assignment, the introduction. Every assignment should have an introduction, whether it is an essay, a report, a presentation, a literature review, even an exam. No matter what it is, it should have an introduction. What is an introduction? An introduction gives the reader a clear idea of what your assignment will cover. Your introduction should be about 10% of your entire assignment. The introduction should be one large paragraph. There are 4 components of an introduction, the first of which is the problem statement. The second component is stating the aim of your assignment. Writing a clear aim is the most important aspect of your introduction. The aim is the foundation of your house. The third component is an overview of the areas that your assignment will cover. The fourth component is the significance of your assignment. This is where you state the significance or the importance of the topic area that you are writing about. We will go through each of these 4 components in more detail. The first component is the problem statement. These are the very first sentences of your assignment. The problem statement sets an intriguing tone. The problem statement introduces the audience to the topic area, but it does not introduce the audience in a neutral or generic way. It introduces the audience to a problem within that topic area. Something isn't right. Things are getting worse, or there is a significant contradiction. There is a problem or an issue that needs to be resolved. Things are not okay. It is a negative nightmare scenario. For example, during organizational change, serious breaches of the psychological contract are more likely. You have introduced the audience to the topic of organizational change, but not in a neutral or generic way. You have signaled that organizational change is fraught with problems, one of which is that the psychological contract is often broken or breached. This problem statement is just an example, so it's very brief. It's better for your problem statement to be about 2 or 3 sentences. Here are some more examples of opening problem statements. Analyzing the impact of COVID-19 lockdowns on creative industries is not entirely straightforward. The process of organizational restructure presents many problems for firms. The restaurant business is inherently risky. 60% of restaurants do not make it past their first year, and 80% close within 5 years of their opening. The second component is the aim of your assignment. After you have made your problem statement, you need to state the aim of your assignment. The aim is the purpose of your assignment. Which central idea are you trying to put forward? What is the main aim that you want your audience to understand? Your aim should be one concise and easy to understand sentence. If you can't express the central aim of your work in one sentence, then this points to a massive problem in your work. This assignment will explore the factors that contribute to the closure of restaurants within the first 5 years of operation. Very simple aim, very straightforward aim, very easy to understand aim. So how do you get your aim? You can get the aim of your assignment by simply rewording the assignment question. Whatever your assignment question is, just reword or rephrase the assignment question. We want to make it clear that the person marking our work knows that we are answering the assignment question. This is a typical assignment question or assignment brief. Explore the concepts of leadership and management using case studies to illustrate the differences between them. We want to turn this assignment brief into a 1-sentence aim. This assignment will explore the concepts of leadership and management through the use of case studies. Very simple, very straightforward. This aim gives a clear idea of what this assignment is about. Another example. This assignment will explore the 6 main concepts of leadership and management through the case studies of Tesla's recent decline in stock value and TalkTalk's move to flexible working. This is a more advanced aim. The previous basic aim stated that they will explore some concepts. It was very vague and very generic. This aim is much more specific by stipulating that it will look at 6 main concepts. You can even list the concepts that you will look at to make it even more specific. Also, instead of just stating that you will explore case studies, this aim specifies the details of those case studies. Tesla's recent decline in stock value and TalkTalk's move to flexible working. Another example. Using a critical theory lens, this assignment will explore concepts of leadership and management in relation to Tesla's recent decline in stock value and TalkTalk's move to flexible working. This is an even more advanced and critical aim. It is an aim that uses a concept or theory or model to explore the assignment question. In other words, you use a relevant theory, concept, or framework or model as a lens to observe the problem in your assignment. So in this example, this student is using a critical theory lens, but he may use a feminist lens, a behavioral theory lens, a transactional framework lens, whatever is relevant and acceptable to use. For the majority of assignments, you will examine the issue from the perspective of that lens. Rather than being completely neutral, it's always good to have a slight angle, a slight tilt. Even though the language that you use is neutral and balanced, and you need to explore all concepts fairly, but you should have a clear narrative and a clear agenda. You need to advance a strong aim. This aim is the foundation of your work. Every paragraph, every section should support this aim. After you write your aim, you should provide an overview of your assignment. Just by reading this overview, I should know all the parts of your assignment. There should be no surprises. So whenever you write an assignment, always provide an overview. In this example, I have colored the overview in different colors to show the different sections of the assignment. This is just an example. In red is the first area, in blue is the second area, and in green is the third area, and in purple is the last area. When you write your assignment, you should think about your assignment in sections. Do not jumble everything together. Do not confuse sections. You have to be strict. When you approach an assignment, try to see it in sections. I'm going to cover this section first, then I will cover this section next, and I'll cover this section next. And all of these sections will directly address the assignment question. This is very important. You finish the introduction paragraph by stating the significance of the assignment. This topic is significant because it is always good to state the importance or the significance of your assignment. I know the significance of writing this assignment is to get a good grade. I know that, but you need to think beyond that. What is the greater significance? What is the greater importance of writing about this topic? It is very important that you connect your writing to the real world. This is not in vain. This assignment means something. Your scholarship is enhanced when you connect what you learnt in the class to the wider world. Perhaps the topic is significant because of an upcoming Act of Parliament. Perhaps the topic is significant because of a recent government inquiry. Perhaps the topic is significant because some troubling statistics have been released. Whatever the reason, try to find a reason to show that your topic is significant. Bringing all these four components together, this is what your introduction could look like. We see the problem statement, the aim, the overview, and ending with the significance. Lecture 3, the main body. The main body of your assignment is where you do the heavy lifting. You have stated in your introduction what you intend to do. Now in the main body, this is where you do it. In the main body, you should be aware of a number of matters. The first of which is being descriptive and being critical. In the main body of your assignment, it is important to know the difference between critical and descriptive writing. You need to be able to write critically in some places and write descriptively in other places. Though the best assignments lean towards criticality, you need to be descriptive in places to make sure that your assignment is understandable and cohesive. Now we will distinguish between being critical and being descriptive. When you are descriptive, you essentially describe what is apparent to you. Being descriptive is a clear description of people, places, objects, or events. When you make a descriptive statement, it is largely non-debatable. It is not contested. There is very little difference of opinion. Stating the UK population is being descriptive. The UK population is under 70 million is a descriptive sentence. There are over 190 countries in the world is a descriptive sentence. Sainsbury's is the second largest chain of supermarkets in the United Kingdom is a descriptive sentence. You'll notice that descriptive statements are confident. I did not say arguably. Sainsbury's could be the second largest chain of supermarkets in the United Kingdom. Instead, I said that Sainsbury's is the second largest chain of supermarkets in the United Kingdom. My language is confident, affirming, asserting. The UK population is under 70 million is a descriptive statement. There are over 190 countries in the world is a descriptive statement. At the other end of the spectrum, to be critical is to look for a deeper meaning. You want to go beneath the surface meaning. What could this data point to? What does this data mean? What does this data represent? What are these events indicating? To be critical is to make explicit what is not apparent. You make visible that which is invisible. We want to read between the lines. We want to bring out the meaning. The meaning may not be apparent. The meaning is beneath the surface. So we need to bring it to the surface. When you are being critical, it is largely debatable. You may be right and you may be wrong because you are trying to interpret data, or you are trying to interpret events, or you are trying to interpret statements. So you may interpret things incorrectly. If you are wrong, it is not the end of the world. You will not be overly marked down because you tried to follow the evidence. Your interpretations did not come from your opinions. Your interpretation came from the evidence. So, because you may be right or wrong, your critical writing sections will use cautious language. For example, arguably, this could be due to the stakeholders. This may have occurred from systemic sexism. This could be a result of the failure of housing policy. Just to recap, this is a descriptive statement. You are just describing what is apparent to you. You are just describing what you can see. This is a Brexit protest. Notice the confident and assertive language. This is a Brexit protest. This is a critical statement. You are trying to go beneath the surface. You are trying to make visible that which is invisible. The reason for their protest is invisible. It's not clear to us. So we try to bring out some possible reasons behind this protest. Notice the cautious language. This could be due to. You should try to use models, frameworks, theories, or concepts in all your assignments. Frameworks and models are generally the same thing. Models and frameworks are a representation of an event or a process that takes place in our lives. In essence, it is a simplification of the real world. It is an ideal type. We use models to help us understand a situation or simulate an experience. Let me show you an example. This is the real map of the London Tube. It is difficult to follow, difficult to understand. There are so many things happening. This is like real life. Real life is chaotic like this. Real life is messy. Real life is all over the place. Real life is difficult to follow. We cannot fully understand real life because it is too complicated. So we create models like this to simplify real life. This is what a model is. It resembles real life, but it is simplified so that we are able to understand the real world. We cannot start our journey in the real world until we simplify the map. You will also find that models and frameworks will be presented visually. Models and frameworks are essentially empty. So you need to fill up models and frameworks with information from your assignment. For example, we define the model. The first stage of Lewin's change model is unfreezing. This means getting people to unlearn their bad habits and open up to new ways of reaching their objectives. This model is empty. It is too generic. This is just a generic statement. It's good that you are using Lewin's model, but right now it is too generic. We need to connect Lewin's model to specific information in our assignment. We need to ground this generic model in the real world. So we add these connecting words. This stage was exemplified by these connecting words are very important. They take this generic statement towards specificity. Then we add Amazon's free senior change managers to guide staff to unlearn 4 problematic habits. This is specific information from our assignments. We have now connected the model of scholars with our specific information. We've connected the model of Lewin with our specific information. This is the essence of academia. We take information out of books and apply it to the real world. This is just a brief example. You should make sure that you extend the definition of the model and extend the specific information. A theory or concept are often used interchangeably. to mean a set of ideas intended to explain something. A theory is essentially an explanation. When scholars explain what occurred and why it occurred, this is the realm of theory. It is derived from the Greek word meaning contemplation, speculation, what occurred, why did it occur, what are the consequences of its occurrence. Concepts and theories are essentially generic. They are generic explanations. So you need to connect these generic concepts and theories to the specific data or information in your assignment. For example, according to elitist theory, particular groups of people occupy most of the university spaces due to their social privilege of wealth. This is generic and very broad. We want to specify this theory by connecting it to information from our assignments. So we put those crucial connecting words. This is exemplified by the fact that then we finish the sentence by adding data from our assignment. 1 in 10 students at both Oxford and Cambridge are from working class backgrounds. There we have it. Generic theory has been grounded by our specific data. Another example. Imposter syndrome is described as the private sense of being an imposter or a fraud found amongst high-achieving people. This is a generic and very broad definition of the concept of imposter syndrome. So we add the connecting words. This was experienced by me. Then we finish off with the personal reflection. In my first few years in the coaching industry, I had this constant fear that I will be exposed by my clients and colleagues. We have grounded the concept of imposter syndrome with our personal reflection, with our specific information. To enhance the structure and clarity of your assignments, you need to signpost. This is crucial. It is difficult to understand your assignment without signposting. Signposting is when you provide brief commentary to explain the reasoning and structure of your assignment. This commentary happens throughout your assignment. You inform the reader about some of the twists and turns. You inform the reader about your reasoning and transitions. I liken it to the commentary of David Attenborough. When he comments on one of his wildlife programs, he does not comment too much, but just enough so that we can understand the action.
As they mature, young males begin to explore the boundaries of the pride's territory. Red has ventured out alone.
Likewise, you mention a few words here and there to keep the reader engaged and to make your assignment understandable. This will help the audience understand your writing more and also help them keep track of your assignment. Also, signposting makes your structure simple and clear with no room for misinterpretation. Make it simple, make it plain. Signposting is a way to do this, and make sure not to overdo it. Signposting becomes tedious and repetitive if it's used too much, so use it sparingly and efficiently to help the audience keep track of your work. Signposting is typically written as the first few words of the paragraph, or even the first sentence of the paragraph. There are 2 types of signposting. You can signpost to explain your logic. For example, you are just about to discuss a case study in your assignment, but before you introduce this case study, you just want to explain the reason for introducing it. You want to show your logic. You want to show the wisdom. Because if you just introduce the case study, it may not be entirely clear why you chose to introduce it. So you need to be very explicit in showing your logic. For example, the following section will focus on the Rana Plaza in order to show the consequences of weak enforcement of health and safety regulation. The second type of signposting is the signifier transition. When you move from one major section to another major section, let it be known by signposting that you have moved on. This will allow the audience to follow the structure of your assignment more easily. It would also give the impression that your assignment is organized and well thought out. Every section has been accounted for. For example, turning now to the second issue. Moving on from the definition, this section will review another significant aspect of the last and shortest part of the assignment is the conclusion. The conclusion is a summary of the whole assignment. It is important that the conclusion contains no new information. Everything that you mention in the conclusion should have been alluded to in the main body. The conclusion contains 3 areas. First, it should restate the central message of your assignment. Try to summarize your whole assignment in a sentence. Here are some words to start you off. Second, summarize key ideas presented in the assignment. Perhaps you made some key points along the way. These key points led you to the central message. These key points were like stepping stones that led you to your central message. These were the areas that you had to cover in order to address the central issue. If your central mission is to get to Manchester, you must mention the key areas that you need to pass through to get to Manchester. You had to pass through High Wycombe. You had to pass through Birmingham. Then you had to pass through Stoke-on-Trent before you could finally get to Manchester, your central goal. Here are some words to start you off. Third, last of all, leave the audience with a critical reflection. Imagine you have reached the top of the mountain. You have reached the top of the mountain by reading articles, researching, writing, editing, drafting. Now you can put forward a critical reflection about the topic. You have earned that right. This critical reflection should not be new information. You should have alluded to this critical reflection in the main body of your assignment. Essentially, in your critical reflection, you make explicit that which was implicit in the main body of your assignment. Perhaps your critical reflection on a topic is that the future looks bleak. You conclude that your research has led you to see that the future looks bleak. Nothing is being done to change the situation, so the problems will remain. There is no planned legislation. There's no real awareness. There's no change to the prevalence. There is nothing on the horizon. Or perhaps your critical reflection is that the future is promising. You conclude that your research has led you to see that the future looks promising. Perhaps you have observed the setting up of government committees addressing the issue. Or there is planned legislation. Or there is increased awareness. Things are moving in the right direction. Or your critical reflection could be that the problem has been underestimated. You conclude that the real extent of the problem or the issue is largely unknown. Or maybe the focus is on one particular aspect, but you have identified a more problematic aspect. Or perhaps your critical reflection is that the problem has been exaggerated. You conclude that the problem or issue has been overstated, embellished, or amplified. Or your critical reflection could be that the issue is the system, not the individual. You conclude that even though individuals have been labeled and stigmatized, the real issue is the system. It is systemic. We should not focus on the individuals. Instead, we should focus on the systems. Or my best type of ending, there is a growing ethical dilemma. Your research reveals a crossroads. In order to progress, an ethical choice has to be made by society. We can no longer put our heads in the sand. We can either go down one path or down another path. And thinking about critical reflection as a whole, here are some words to start you off.